So in this video, we're going to speak to Shannon, who's one of our coaches on the program, and we're going to speak to her about direct marketing. So I'll let her introduce herself. Shannon, what is it you actually do?
Probably a lot of things. So my main focus is lead generation. So I help all the coaches inside the mentorship improve lead generation and also give them access to a virtual assistant, which I help them set appointments every day.
What is setting appointments?
So setting appointments, well, obviously with the marketing that we do would be through Instagram messaging, Facebook messaging. They would be physically booking the calls for those coaches, which is obviously a big issue for a lot of coaches. They find it really difficult to get past the point of talking to someone like a friend.
So what would you say are the biggest mistakes that coaches make when they do this thing on their own without help?
Probably the way they come across in messages. Obviously, we know notoriously, like asking silly questions, like coming across like, oh, if you need any help, like, you know, always ask me, but no one's ever going to ask that question. I think going in too soon as well with like, you know, do you want to join my program, or like, do you need to lose weight, which puts people off because, you know, not everyone really wants someone telling them that they are fat on Instagram. So I think a lot of coaches make those really small like mistakes early days and probably not even actually doing any outbound messaging either. They just think that leads are going to come to them.
Okay, so those are the biggest mistakes. When you're looking to hire someone like yourself, so you have an agency that does this for people outside of mentorship, right? When somebody's looking to hire your agency or to make this step, whereabouts in their career would you say that they're supposed to be before they do that?
I think revenue is always a big thing I look at, and mostly what they've actually done so far and where they're at in the business. So it's like certain questions I'll ask them. One, because I want to make sure that they can be able to afford it, and it's not going to be a massive then like job for my girls to then take on where they have to work twice as hard in a very limited time to get them to where they need to be. I'd also like to take on people that have tried it before and know what works for them, what doesn't. And usually we find is that a lot of the coaches come to us, they're like, I've got like 40 clients, you know, I'd rather work in the business, like on the business, than actually in it every day. And I don't have the like time to do 2 hours of like messaging people and getting more leads. So usually they come to us and like, right, I've already done it. Like I know works. I just need someone to come in and help me to take it over. They've got the cash there. They know, you know, how everything, they know they can afford it really. And they know the value of what we actually do. Whereas I think a lot of coaches, when they do come to us, they think a VA is going to fix all their problems, and it's just not how it works. It's just going to plaster over a very big hole.
Okay, what are the usual pitfalls when people come to you and maybe they're not in the right position? What are the things that they're not doing then? What do you need to have in place within the business to make sure that this kind of stuff will succeed for you?
A good business model, first of all. So they know how to run a business, like they know how to run a team. They're probably like really successful already. So they're kind of at the point where like, you know, business is going good, has been for a while. They have everything else in place. Like, you know, they may have like a landing page. They may have like sales funnels. They've got all the booking systems, may have a script already. I'm trying to think of what else we look for. They're consistent with like posting, and they actually have a good, like they've got good content and a good message, and they know who their target audience is. Like, don't know how many times I've had a call with someone and they're like, they don't know who their ideal client is. I'm like, I cannot work with you because if you don't know, then I won't know, and I can't sit and help you figure that out. It's just a big part of the job that you need to do yourself.
Okay. What's the difference? Because I know this, but people might get confused because you work more now, I've found, as appointment setters rather than virtual assistants. What's the difference between a virtual assistant and getting an appointment setter?
So a virtual assistant can do everything and anything. So like there is such a broad term. So they can be like an actual assistant within your business. So I can hire a virtual assistant to do like book my appointment, like book, say like manage my calendar, or, you know, do all the little shitty admin jobs I don't want to do. They could probably like create content. They can do like social media posts, copywriting, websites. There are virtual assistants for literally everything. Whereas what we do is setting appointments. Like my job is I want to help you get leads. Like even if that is starting as many conversations as possible where you can take over, or if that's actually going out and finding the people to bring to your page, if that's actually going in and managing your DMs and say actually booking appointments for you as well. That's what we do. We're all about leads. We're not really about, you know, oh, well, you know, we can just go on your account for half an hour today and follow people. Because if I knew my girls were spending an hour doing that, like I'd hit the van, because I'm like, that is just a waste of time. It's just not what we do. We're not virtual assistants realistically, even though we've been deemed as VAs, but it's just not what we do.
So what's a typical flow of what happens? So somebody signs up, they get their appointment setter, they start working in the business. obviously there'll be different things, but how does it usually flow? Like what usually happens? Does the appointment setter start the conversations and then the coach finishes them off? Like what's the usual kind of route that goes down to end up from, person pays the money, gets the member of staff into their business actually growing? How does that work?
Usually, like we've obviously got like Trello boards and stuff set up for every coach is slightly different on what they need. Some coaches will really just need us to be in there and managing their DMs, like, making sure everyone's being replied to, anyone's being followed up, resurfaced, etc. But it's usually a team effort. So sometimes it'll be like, usually it'll be, we'll start the conversations for you. We will finish the DMs for you until our time is up. And then we give them like an end of day report where the coach then has all the information they need. They've got all the leads there. They know what people they need to be looking out for whenever the girl's finished. So we worked collectively with the coach to make sure that within the time that we have, everything we're doing is supporting them to move forward. And like every Friday, we'll always ask the coach as well, like, what happened this week? What interest did you get? Did you book with the calls that you booked? How many people have you got signed up? Because then we can be like, right, collectively, we know everything we're doing is right. And if it isn't, right, why isn't this working? What is going on? 9 times out of 10, it's because maybe the coach hasn't actually done what they need to do, or they're not clear on what it is they want us to do.
Okay. So that's a really good set. So essentially you're giving people, you're opening all the conversations, you're essentially the top of the funnel, and then you're getting it to a point where you're like, right, these are all the people that you need to focus your attention on, because these are all the people that we've identified that have had a conversation far enough that they're people that are worthwhile on your time. Yeah.
So half the time we will do that. Sometimes coaches come just like, look, I just want you to start as many conversations as possible and just follow people to bring more people on the page. Brilliant, no problem. But then it gets to the point where they're like, I'm not picking any calls. Well, you told us this is what you wanted us to do. So now you have to let us take over your DMs for a little while to see if that maybe is what's wrong. So there is times that'll happen, but 9 out of 10, everything that we're doing, we just want to make sure that it's getting them leads, whether that is starting conversations or managing the DMs, booking calls, resurfacing conversations, like doing all the follow-ups, sending out lead magnets, like anything that they need. We want to make sure that it's all literally going in one direction, like it's to get them calls and to get them sales, really.
So what's the biggest ROI that you've ever had from a client?
Probably recently, I think one of the clients that we've just had, to be fair, his program's quite like expensive and he's in Australia. I think it was something like, we've made him like 6 times his revenue back. It was something like 7.5 grand. He just collected it one day.
One day?
Yeah, one day. He collected 7.5 grand in one day.
Not bad. What was the total contract?
Just don't mean I don't know. The contract for him.
As in, no, what was the total? So if he's collected 7.5, what was the actual total value of the contracts that were signed?
I don't know. Like his program, he has like a 3 grand program, and I think he has a $1,500 program as well. So he had collected like maybe like I think was like 2 3 grand ones and one like 1,500. And the only reason he was collected the 1,500 one was because he said when he went to like push the other price, he kind of like got a little bit nervous, and then he ended up like closing it. So he still took in 7.5 like in one day, and he said that's been the best he's ever done. And it's only been, that was on a 2-hour package, and he doesn't do really much on his own Instagram. He's been like tackling LinkedIn, and he's like, to get that from what you're just doing on Instagram is unbelievable.
Yeah, I'd take 7.5 grand in a day.
Yeah, so would I. I quite like that.
Where can people find you if they want to know more about your services?
On Instagram, just social_Shannon. We've got obviously a couple of new people coming on board this week, and I'm going on holiday for 2 weeks, so don't bother me on there.
Lovely. Right, so that's the end of this episode. Remember that if you want to see more stuff like this, other people that we've got within our network of how they can help you grow your coaching business, subscribe to the channel below. And I will remember what the bell button does at the top. I'm pretty sure it tells you when there's a new video. I'm not sure what the difference between that is and the subscribe button is, because surely that should do the same thing. But if you press them both, it'll definitely work.